a couple of tough losses yesterday. A 3-2 loss to the Halifax Max and a 6-1 decision at the hands of the Steel Subaru turns the page for both of these teams. My name's Dayton Camo, welcoming you inside the Kings Mutual Century Center, better known as the Apple Dome, or the house that Bobby built here in Berwick, Nova Scotia, for a U18 major matchup between the visiting Weeks Majors and the Bage Valley Wildcats. Starting in net tonight for the Majors, number 1, Jack Thorne. And on the other end of the ice, number 29, Maddox Newman. 7 points separate these two teams in the standings. The Wildcats looking to inch closer with a win here today. And we're underway with the face-off at center ice. The Majors sending this one down in. Now a shot turned aside by Newman. Back down deep go the Weeks. A quick chance out front. And that one's covered by Newman quickly. So a great chance off the hop here for the Weeks Majors. Already up 2 in the shot department. Face-off one there by the Wildcats in the defensive zone. It's chipped up the wall. That one's out of reach of Jesse Sinclair. Now it's Sullivan. Back across the line. This one's picked up by Girard at the point. Now it's sent to the red line. Weeks still offside. That one worked in just offside by White, as Kidd was just on the opposite side of the red line. And we're going to face off here 40 seconds into this one. Face-off one there by the Weeks Majors. It'll be backhanded down into the zone. Hanley out to corral that one, pokes that one into the corner, but can't get it out of the zone. Now it's back to the point to Bertram. Bertram shot down into the corner. Girard to Hanley, and Hanley moves this one up the wall. A nice pass out for Connolly. Connolly working in, has to stop up, get some time, and he sends this down to Kerrigan. Kerrigan sends a shot down off the side of the net. Now back to Seaman. Jacob Seaman. His shot goes in, and that one's stopped by Thorne. We'll get an early whistle here. 18:39 left to go in the first period. Shots now even at 2. Ewan Sim able to win that face-off. Sim well known around the league. The name Sim known well around the province of Nova Scotia. John Sim, former NHLer, and Lane and Landon Sim, both doing well in their hockey careers. Now a pass. Here's Sim working in. Shot just wide of the net. Now Hickey plays that one into the corner. Eric Hanley up the wall. Now here goes Force. Force to center. No one there to corral that one. Now it's flipped to center. Swain got a stick on that one. Now it's poked ahead to McKenzie. McKenzie shot up into the rafters. And we're going to stoppage of play. 17:51 here to go in the first period. The Wildcats trying to inch their way closer to the Max at the top of the standings, as are the Weeks Majors. Now it's sent back down in. Newman leaves it there for Girard. Girard flips a floater out to center, and now it's back down in. Picked up by Jeremy Wilson. This one gets to center. It's sent in by the Majors. Newman out to play it. He'll stop up, send it to Wilson. Wilson, quick pass. Now the Wildcats able to get out. Stoddard off the wall, or Connolly, excuse me. Now back to Wilson. To Gerard. Gerard sends it back to Wilson. They'll play pitch and catch down here in the Wildcats' end. Looking for an option is Wilson. He'll turn on the Jets, get the red line. But that one's chipped back, and away goes you and White. White shot just over the net. That one was a rocket. And now out of the zone for the Wildcats. Breaking out. That one was Morgan Fleming with some speed down the zone. Now Sinclair plays it back to the point. Shot. That one just goes wide, tipped off the stick of someone on the way to the net. Now back to the point to Hickey. Hickey unable to keep that one in. That one's an offside at the line. 16:20 left to go here in the first period. Sinclair and Kidd on the draw as Sinclair wins that one back. Sent in. McEachern plays that one around the wall. It's to center. Now to White. Trying to find a man there in the slot. That shot couldn't make its way to the net. Now here comes Hanley. Hanley, shot. That one just goes wide. Max Hanley, the Moncton Wildcats prospect. Now Griffin McEachern chops at that one down in the defensive zone. Fletcher was all over that one. Now Fletcher gets a loose puck. Referee takes a tumble, but Fletcher comes in, shot off the bar. And that one up into the scoreboard. We'll get a stoppage of play. Hopefully Stripes is all right down there. He took a hard tumble into the wall from that danger area, 3 feet from the boards. Looks like he's got the helmet off and stretching it out. Oh wow, looks like his visor might have came right off the helmet. Hopefully it's a clip-on, or else that would be expensive. Looks like it is. Referee's back up to his feet. Visor back on the helmet. No trip to sports check needed after this one. Now Kerrigan on the draw. That one's one back, but the Weeks able to get possession. McKenzie sends it cross ice to Pugsley. Pugsley, that one was out of his reach. And now back to McKenzie. McKenzie up through middle. That one out of the reach of Pugsley once more, and it'll go all the way for an icing. So we'll go back down 200 feet into the Weeks zone. This Weeks team been a powerhouse in this Nova Scotia U18 Major League ever since they made their trip to Nationals a few years ago. Now a shot comes in from Fleming, and that one turned aside by the paddle of Thorne. Now it's back down deep into the corner. McKenzie picks it up to center. Now Tanner on the half wall sends it back down in, but it's turned away by the Wildcats. Out of the reach of a couple of Cats. Now Sinclair has it. That one was put wide, picked up by Hunter Hood. Now Fleming picks up the loose puck in front to Hood. That one's Sinclair just put that one just wide of the net. Now Seaman, his shot. Glove down in front by Jack Cameron. Cameron waits, hits Tanner. Tanner looking for an option. Tries to make a move there, almost taken away. And now this one goes into the bench. And we'll get a face-off back down to the Weeks end. 14:09 to go here in the first period. Shots all even at 3. If you missed it, the U15 Valley Wildcats just picked up a 7-0 win over the Harbor Rage here from the Apple Dome. And now off the draw, a quick shot. That was bobbled in front, and Jack Thorne had to make a quick save covering that one up. Now a face-off won by the Weeks. It gets back to the point, but sent right back in. Here goes U and Sim. Drops that one back to Green. Now across, back for Sim. Sim shot, works in. That goes wide, and now Eli Swain down there in the corner. He gets ridden into the boards by Girard. A net guard pops off. And now a quick shot saved by Newman. And we'll get another face-off. As Eli Swain puts his net guard back on. Resets here for the Weiss Majors. We'll get set for a face-off to the right of Newman. Now it's sent back up the wall, kept in alive. And now Swain unable to keep this one in. Sends it back to the point. McEachern fanned on that pass. Now he sends a backhand across. That pass intended for Swain, missed him, and it'll go all the way down, picked up by Hickey. Hickey to the corner. Now it's blocked in front. Good block there by Amos Sinclair. Now this shot from the point goes in, turned aside by Newman into the corner, picked up by Seaman. Jacob Seaman, the Blainville-Boisbriand Armada prospect. Now Hood, Hunter Hood, picks that one up the Wildcats. Seaman just had that one skip by him. Seaman backs up into his check. And now send it ahead. There's Fletcher. Sends one back down deep. It's intercepted by McEachern. And he sends this one down back into the Wildcats' end. Kerrigan. Up to Fletcher. He's ridden into the boards by Jack Cameron. Loose puck there picked up by the Weeks off the skate there. Frazier. And now out to center. This one's out of the reach of Pugsley. It'll go back down, and Wilson looking to settle things down here for the Wildcats and get them started on the breakout. Wilson to Girard, back to Wilson. Now Wilson's pass out to the half wall to Girard. Girard up through the middle. He's got Kerrigan racing after that one, but Cameron first to it. Cameron up the wall to Frazier. Past him. Now picked back up at the line by Hickey. Hickey throws one to center. Now it's sent right back in by Braden Kerrigan. Now McKenzie out to the half wall off the bench. That one will be called. Say it'll go out of play into the Wildcats bench. 11:27 left to go here in the first period. Good fast-paced game. Not too many of quality offensive chances so far, but both teams coming off tough nights last night, looking to rebound and get some goals on the board here today. Oh, this pass taken away by Hood. He's got a chance in all alone. Hunter Hood off the blocker and into the glass. A great chance for Hood on the breakaway to open the scoring. Now Fleming, he gets run over there. Now this pass gets sent in by Williams. Knocked around the wall for Newman, picked back up by the Weeks. That centering pass turned aside, and now it's back up the wall for Hood. Hunter Hood goes cross ice. That one's out of the reach of Fleming. And back up to White. White through neutral ice. That one's off the leg of Jesse Sinclair. And now almost a chance turned aside by the Wildcats, but Eric Hanley will work it down the near side wall out in front. Sinclair threw a backhander on net, turned aside by Thorne. Now Sullivan. Ty Sullivan up the wall. That shot comes in. Another shot saved by Newman once more. But it's turned aside. And that shot by the Weeks stopped by Newman once again. The Wildcats looking to get out of the defensive zone. Hanley. Eric Hanley, brother of Max Hanley. Now Forrest gets ran over by the Weeks forward in the neutral zone as Seaman goes back to pick it up for the Wildcats behind his own net, up to the half wall. Out to Hood. Hood had that one chipped off his stick. Forrest couldn't get to it. Now Sim makes a move through the legs. Backhander up top off the mask of Newman. Now Forrest lifts one high. Out to neutral ice. Picked up by McEachern. McEachern sends it back in. Now Newman leaves it there for Seaman. Seaman battling down in there with Cohen Tanner. And now it's out to neutral ice. A battle along the half wall. The linesman has to retreat. Now McKenzie plays it across. Cameron. Back to McKenzie. McKenzie sends it cross ice. It's sent into the Wildcat zone. Weeks offside. Have to touch up. Almost created a easy breakout there, but the breakout was mishandled by Max Hanley, and now a chance in for the Wildcats as Amos Sinclair gets in there on the forecheck. Turned aside by Stoddard. Now Connolly looking for Hanley. Back door, he had to take it on the backhand there. He could have unloaded. Now Hanley tried to step into his man. Up the wall, and Hanley gets run over. Out there looking to take a number is Max Hanley, as he probably has. Now Girard sends one high and wide into the weak zone. It escapes the line as Swain tries to put one up through a couple of skates. Swain once more. Now it's Williams back up to Ty Sullivan. Now Williams through neutral ice up to Swain. He's turned aside there at the line by Hickey. Now Hickey drops for Seaman. Seaman back up to Hickey. Now Williams around the net to Sullivan. Now Sullivan gets it to Kidd, who hits McEachern. McEachern shot through a couple of bodies, didn't make its way to the net. Now a loose puck in front. Now it's Sinclair working his way up the near side wall to Hood. Hood tried to make a move with the line, can't get through, and now Fleming. Back up to Hood, now to the point to Seaman. Turned aside, now Wilson, his shot. That one's off a leg in front. Thorne couldn't get a glove on that one. Now Pugsley has to quickly get rid of that. It's back to Wilson at the point. He'll look for Seaman. Seaman up the ice, and that one's sent in. Now a dangerous puck right out in front of Jack Thorne off the dasher board. Had no idea where it was. Good job by the Weeks defenseman to clear that one. Now this one's chipped back into the zone. Hanley giving chase. That's Eric. Force comes in there to help out. Pay on it now. Darius Pay. Back out to the point. Seaman walks the line, tries to find a lane. His shot blocked in front. Picked up back by Force. Looking for Pay in neutral ice. He was going to unload that one-timer. Now a chance away for Pugsley. He's got Wildcats all over him. Drops for Green. And now it's back behind the net. Pay picks it up. Pass out to Hanley. A good breakout pass right on the tape. Hanley sends it back down in. The Wildcats will make a wholesale change. Now it's out to neutral ice. Cameron finds Croft. Croft tried to go back to Cameron. Taken away by Hood. Now Hood comes up over the line. He sends a shot into the shin pads. And now Max Hanley will send this one back down into the offensive zone. Just under 5 minutes to go here in this opening period. Chance now for Amos Sinclair. Takes away that loose puck. But Nick McKenzie able to make his way down into the offensive zone to Croft. Across to Ty Sullivan. Sullivan works in. The shot doesn't make its way through. And now sent back down the ice. Weeks looking for a quick up the wall. It's chipped in by Ewan White. Back for Hickey. Cameron Hickey up the far side. Wall gets the red line. Looks to gain the zone, but it's taken away by Frazier. Now back to Seaman. Seaman makes a couple of moves. Dances at the red line and gets this one to Connolly. Back to Hickey. Hickey sends a shot through, tipped in front off the pad, just wide of the net. A great chance there for the Wildcats to bang one home, just put wide, and now the Majors able to gain the offensive zone. Tanner goes down low to Lawrence Williams, out of his reach. Now Jacob Seaman back in the point, sends one up the wall. Now a good chance, broken up by Connolly. And now away go the Wildcats. The shot from Fletcher just goes wide. Now a chance in front for Fletcher again, turned aside by Thorne. That pass in front of the Weeks forward, unable to corral that one. Now Tanner working back down in the offensive zone. He's still got possession of it. Now he whips it back down into the corner. Kerrigan and Sim battling down there. Now Tanner throws it back behind the net. Sim out front, turned aside by Newman. The rebound jam wide. Now McEachern, his shot off a skate, goes wide of the net. Sim picks it up, but it's Wilson in there battling for it. Wilson up the wall to neutral ice. Now here's Hood. Hunter Hood tries to walk in, send a shot near the blocker of Thorne, but he turns to the side. Now this one, loose puck picked up by Sinclair. And that one just goes wide of the net as well. The Wildcats looking to be the more offensive team right here. Now Swain has that one poked off his stick. It'll be chipped back into the offensive zone. Sinclair comes back to pick it up. He almost blows a tire, but able to regroup behind his own net. Now it's back out to Jack Cameron. To McKenzie. McKenzie takes a bump along the half wall. No call on the play. Sinclair in there with help from Hanley. And now Pay lays a body down in there to Frazier. As Sinclair looks to slap it back in. He missed on that one. Picked up by Cameron. Drop to Frazier. Frazier working in. Shot turned aside off the blocker of Newman. Now back to the point. Battle along the far side as Pay comes in to help out. Cameron behind the net with 60 to go. Now McKenzie turns that one over, and the Wildcats have numbers. Force coming in. His shot just wide. Now one last rush up the ice. 40 to go here for the Weeks Majors. Now Seaman behind his own net, chipped down by Fletcher on net. Thorne turns it aside. Now Williams. He's pressured down there by Fletcher. Stoddard comes in to take the loose puck. It's rimmed up the wall. Seaman goes cross ice, tried to hit Wilson. Now Wilson takes a bump there from White. Now the Majors looking for a quick up. Wilson ready for that bump from Kidd. No good. And time will run out here in the first period. So through 20 minutes of play here at the Apple Dome in Berwick, no score. between the week's majors and the Valley Wildcats. Stay with us. Second period coming up right after this.
Tonight's stream is brought to you by John Ross & Sons, Atlantic Canada's scrap metal pros. Cleaning out the garage, job site, or shop, turn your steel, copper, and aluminum into cash. Drop off at their HRM locations or book a convenient bin for bigger hauls. Family-owned, environmentally responsible recycling that keeps our community clean and jobs local. Visit jrsons.ca and tell them High Button Sports sent you. John Ross & Sons, scrap metal made simple. Tonight's stream is brought to you by John Ross & Sons, Atlantic Canada's scrap metal pros. Cleaning out the garage, job site, or shop, turn your steel, copper, and aluminum into cash. Drop off at their HRM locations or book a convenient bin for bigger hauls. Family-owned, environmentally responsible recycling that keeps our community clean and jobs local. Visit jrsons.ca and tell them High Button Sports sent you. John Ross & Sons, scrap metal made simple. Tonight's stream is brought to you by John Ross & Sons, Atlantic Canada's scrap metal pros. Cleaning out the garage, job site, or shop, turn your steel, copper, and aluminum into cash. Drop off at their HRM locations or book a convenient bin for bigger hauls. Family-owned, environmentally responsible recycling that keeps our community clean and jobs local. Visit jrsons.ca and tell them High Button Sports sent you. John Ross & Sons, scrap metal made simple. Tonight's stream is brought to you by John Ross & Sons, Atlantic Canada's scrap metal pros. Cleaning out the garage, job site, or shop, turn your steel, copper, and aluminum into cash. Drop off at their HRM locations or book a convenient bin for bigger hauls. Family-owned, environmentally responsible recycling that keeps our community clean and jobs local. Visit jrsons.ca and tell them High Button Sports sent you. John Ross & Sons, scrap metal made simple. Tonight's stream is brought to you by John Ross & Sons, Atlantic Canada's scrap metal pros. Cleaning out the garage, job site, or shop, turn your steel, copper, and aluminum into cash. Drop off at their HRM locations or book a convenient bin for bigger hauls. Family-owned, environmentally responsible recycling that keeps our community clean and jobs local. Visit jrsons.ca and tell them High Button Sports sent you. John Ross & Sons, scrap metal made simple.
We're back here on High Button Sports. My name is Dade Camo, welcoming you inside the Kings Mutual Century Center in Berwick, Nova Scotia. Through one period of play, the Weeks Majors and the Valley Wildcats all tied at 0. Nobody able to break the ice in the first period. We'll see what the second period has in store. The Majors able to get control off the faceoff. Back down into the corner. Seaman picks it up down there for the Wildcats. Up the wall to Sinclair, the captain. Sinclair lays a hit down in the corner. Gets bear hugged down there by Ty Sullivan. Arm right up around the head area of Sinclair. Now Cameron off the wall to Frazier. Frazier at neutral ice, going to work his way into the zone. Pass, rebound, what a save! Maddox Newman crossed the crease off the rebound, shuts the door, and keeps this game even at 0. Looked like Nathan Kidd even going in there to give props to Newman. Respect there from Kidd. Now back to the point. McEachern throws a shot in. This one goes wide of the net. Now picked up by Hanley. Hanley can't get that one out. Kidd in the corner. He's bumped there by Kerrigan. Now it's back to the point. McEachern has a look, doesn't like what he sees, and he throws it back down into the corner. Kidd, he gets bumped, and now Fletcher has this when he's first to it. Picks it up off the wall. Chips to Connolly. Connolly, he's got speed, driving wide down the far side. That one's left there. Kerrigan couldn't get control of it. Now it's the Weeks. 4. All 5 of them up. Sim back door to Croft, and Croft will put this one home. So the Weeks Majors opening the scoring here in Berwick. All 5 of them moving up the ice as a unit. Nice passing play. Sim across to Croft. And the Weeks Majors have the 1-0 lead. Now off the draw, McKenzie sends this one in. Back to the point. This one's kept in once again by McKenzie. Now Hanley around the wall. Up to Peh, but Peh is pinched off there as Pugsley sends it back down behind the net. Seaman. McKenzie sends it back around the wall to Williams. He's pressured down there by Force. As the official goal call coming. Croft from Sim and Kidd. Seaman up the wall to Force. Force tries to break in. He puts it deep. And he'll head off for a change. Now Cameron hits Kidd, breaking through the middle of the ice. He gets the return feed. And now Kidd shot. Turned aside by Newman. And he'll cover up. .17:03 left to go here in the second period. Shots on net 13-9 now in favor of the Weeks Majors. So face off right back to the left of Newman. Kidd on the draw. He wins it back, but the Wildcats first on possession. Now back to Cameron. Jack Cameron, cross ice. This one gets sent in. Henrik Gerard has to Pick it up down there for the Wildcats. Sends a backhander up the wall. Now Connolly driving wide. Sends it down into the corner. Sullivan up the wall to Swain. Swain drops it back for Sullivan, who hits Tanner on the half wall. That one worked in offside at the line. And we'll get a face-off. 16:26 to go. Face-off will come to the near side. Right in your living room. Sent back down into the Wildcat zone. Hanley, the Wildcats prospect, Moncton Wildcats, sends this one down deep, and that'll be an icing call. We'll get a face-off back down to the left of Maddox Newman. So the Weeks Majors with the 1-0 lead, thanks to Jaden Croft, assisted by Ewan Sim and Nathan Kidd. Draw back down in the Wildcat zone. Sinclair wins it to the wall. Fleming tries to put one cross ice for Sinclair. It's out of his reach as he has to come back and reset. Back to Fleming. Fleming up the wall. Now Sinclair chips at that one. He gets this one in. He's knocked off the puck. And now the Major's able to regroup. Working it back up is McIntosh. McIntosh, shot glove save by Newman. And that'll bring the face-off right back down to the right of Newman. Wilson corrals that puck off the face-off, but it's picked up by Kidd. Now he's battling down there in for it with Wilson as Wilson plays it up the wall. Back to Williams. That one's sent in by McKenzie, and Newman will come out to play it. Leaves it there for Wilson. Wilson up the wall to Connolly. Now Connolly's got room. He's going to drive through. Picks the puck up behind the net. Back to the point to Jacob Seaman. Seaman down low. That one's out of the reach. But Fletcher picks it back up. Chip to the front of the net. Backhanded up to Kidd. Kidd's got speed down the left-hand side. Tries to cut to the middle. His shot turned aside by Newman once again. Seaman corrals that rebound. But once again, the Weeks Majors now. It's Fletcher. Fletcher tries to find a man backdoor racing in. And now a penalty call coming. A hooking call. I believe now a misconduct as well. So it was Nick McKenzie with the hooking call, and then Nathan Kidd picking up the misconduct. Skating by the referee with some choice words. That'll get him 10 minutes in the box, and Kidd for 2 or less, or McKenzie for 2 or less. Now the Wildcats out here on the power play. Wildcats power play clicking at 23% this season. But the Weeks penalty kill might be even better, clicking it at about 83. Now a chance in net, scramble in front. And Sullivan plays this one to the wall. It's kept into the point by Fleming to Hanley. Hanley down low. That shot from Hood goes wide. Now Fleming back down low. Connolly back up top to Hanley. Hanley scores! Max Hanley rips one from the point, top shelf. Jack Thorne couldn't see it. And the Wildcats have evened this 1-1. What a shot from the blue liner, number 77, Max Hanley. Just a clean shot from the point right to the back of the net. We're all even at one as Fraser tips this one in. Seaman picks it up. Up to Force. Force goes cross ice, chipped ahead by Eric Hanley. Hanley trying to beat Cameron to the puck. Cameron swings it around to Sullivan. Sullivan up the wall, kept alive there by Seaman. Jumping up, and now Force sends one back in front of the net. Going to the net was Stoddard, but he was taken down. And now this one's up into the netting. 13-16 to go. So the Wildcats 1 for 1 so far on the power play today. After a goal from Max Hanley as Hunter Hood jumps in there on the face-off against McIntosh. Draw one by Hood, shot, turned aside by Thorne. Now Hood sends it back into the corner, picked up by McEachern. He'll send it cross ice back up the wall to Tanner. Now Sinclair takes it away. Chance breaking in. That shot over the net from Hood, just wide. Now Hood in the corner, battling down there with Griffin McEachern. McEachern comes away with it. Now it's up the wall, getting broken in there by the Leafs Majors. Into the corner, now behind the net for McIntosh. McIntosh battling down there. Now Tanner at the half wall. He resets, tries to send one in front. Now it's picked up by Swain. Swain sends it behind the net, picked up by Sinclair. And now it's out to Seaman, the defenseman, making a rush up ice, and he gets offside, gives a tap there. And this will be offside right at the line. Now Girard picks this one up, goes cross ice out of the reach of Connolly. And they score! Off the loose puck, Braden Kerrigan jumps in and fires home the rebound. And just like that, the Wildcats have gained a 2-1 lead. Wildcats win the draw, picked up by Girard. Wildcats now leading here on home ice. Wilson makes a move behind the net, up the wall. Taken away by Croft, and he'll send this one right back in. The official goal call. Kerrigan from Girard at 8-10. This one just kept into the line by Sullivan. Down low. Played back around the wall to Cameron. Cameron makes a move at the line. He shoots, and that one goes over the net, up into the scoreboard. And we'll get a face-off right back down here to the right of Maddox Newman. 11-11 to go. 15-12 the shots on net in favor of the Weeks Majors. But the Wildcats maintaining that 2-1 lead right after that goal from Braden Kerrigan. Now Green works in on the draw with force. Green wins that one ahead, but Hickey there to pick it up for the Wildcats. Now Force ahead, tries to play a backhander out as Peh races for it. Darius Peh. Hanley giving chase to that one. It's sent all the way around to Pugsley. Pugsley to Fraser. Now back to Pugsley. Shot turned aside by the blocker and Newman. Force unable to get a stick on that one. It goes back to the line. Bertram will send this one in. Newman. Back down the wall, tipped in front off the shoulder area of Force. And now Frazier jumping in there to help out. Pokes his puck around to Cameron Hickey, who leaves it there for Darius Peck. Now Pugsley working in on the goal line, shot off the side of the net. Now back to the point, Bertram. Drags, walks, now backs to Bertram. Bertram shot blocked away. Now into the corner, Force. Sends one back around the wall, doesn't get anywhere. Now it's Sim trying to lay one out in front of the net. Or Frazier, excuse me. Now Hickey runs into his own man behind the net. That was Hanley. Now a chance for Bertram walking in. Pats, oh, they score. Nick Bertram walks in off the half wall, slides one under the pad of Maddox Newman, fooling everybody. And we are all even at 2. So we've reached the 10-minute mark of the period. A new rule in the Nova Scotia U18 League this season. At the 10-minute mark, a 1-minute break will ensue. Why, you ask? I don't have the answer. These kids should be in better shape than myself, and I think I could do it. Referee skates back to center ice. We're almost ready for the face-off here at center. After the goal from Nick Bertram ties things up here at the Apple Dome. We've got a clean sheet. And we're all evened up. Weeks win this one off the draw. It's chipped up to Tanner. Back to the point. That was McKenzie throwing it down there in the corner. Now Hood up the wall. Tried to hit Sinclair, but that one's out of his reach. Now Seaman sends it in. He's met there by White. Now Seaman sends a big hit into Cohen Tanner. Seaman pinching up and stepping into the line. Now you talk about a sports family. The Seamans are definitely a sports family. Harrison Seaman playing his whole hockey career with the Acadia Axemen. Now Jacob Seaman with the Valley Wildcats. And Olivia Seaman. Her second year now at Mercyhurst down in Erie, Pennsylvania. Had a nice chat with old Dr. Jim Seaman before the game. Nice to see him. So we're going to face off back down to the left of Jack Thorne. McKenzie works his way up, sends a long shot down, blocked away by Newman into the glass. Battle along the half wall, puck picked up by Girard. Girard sends this one around the ice. And now Force, he's giving chase to that one. Force in there, almost stripped Sullivan of that one. Now it's played around the wall. Girard back down deep. Picked up at the wall by Eli Swain. Back to Girard. Girard sends it into the point. Now Cameron at the point. Sends one up to neutral ice. Now away go the Weeks. Cohen Tanner. His shot blocked in front. Good block by Girard. Now a chance away for Fletcher. Fletcher's in all alone, and he's tripped on the play. And we'll get a penalty shot. So Nolan Fletcher will make his way to center ice. And with 7:27 left to go here, we'll get a penalty shot as Nolan Fletcher will make his way down in on Jack Thorne. Here goes Fletcher, working in on the forehand. Fletcher scores! Nolan Fletcher rips one short side over the glove of Jack Thorne, and the Wildcats regain the lead. Face-off won by the Cats, sent in, and Eisner is stood up there by Fletcher as you hear the benches ring. This one's sent around the end wall by Newman. Now a pass up for Connolly. Connolly, he's working in. Taken away there by McEachern. Now back to Kerrigan. Kerrigan sends it in. Up the wall to Frazier. Or Eisner, excuse me. Now this one will be whistled down. 6:53 left to go in the second period. Moments ago, Nolan Fletcher giving the Wildcats a 3-2 lead off the penalty shot. Face-off won by the Cats, but this one's corralled by the Majors and sent out of play into the netting. So we'll get a face-off back down in the weak zone. That one's kept into the line by Fleming. Now Williams makes his way up ice. Weeks driving in, 3 to the net. Now a penalty coming. Girard had Williams tied up on the way to the net. And now a chance off the bar. And it goes in. A shot by Frazier on the delayed penalty finds the hole up top on Maddox Newman. And Newman goes to the bench, picks up a new piece of lumber. So the Weeks Majors have tied this thing up at 3. What a shot by Frazier right over the glove or the blocker of Maddox Newman into the top part of that net, back bar and out. Love to have a net cam on that one. Face-off won by the Cats. Back to Girard. Girard was the recipient of that delayed penalty before the goal from Frazier. And now here come the Weeks Majors once again. Down deep. Girard plays his man into the boards. Now, chance in front, worked out. Net comes off its moorings, and we'll get a whistle. Good chance in there for the week's majors right after evening this game up. So we're going to face off right back down here to the right of Maddox Newman. Ewan White and Luke Force on the draw. White wins this one a little bit too cleanly. This goes all the way back to the defensive zone. Jack Cameron has to come racing back for that one. Ty Sullivan up the wall. Chipped across to McIntosh. McIntosh has this one poked off of his stick. A couple of bodies flying down there on the near side. Hickey picks it up the wall to Pet. Now Force works his way in. Force back to Hickey. Cross ice. Shot comes in from Hanley. That goes wide. Now Cameron. Saucer pass across to Cole Pugsley. Drops for Cameron. Cameron. That one doesn't make its way to the net. Now Eric Hanley out at neutral ice. He's going to make a move as Peh sends it in. Now it's down low to Croft. To Sim. Works into Pugsley. Drops for Bertram. He's got one to Croft. And now on the rebound. This one's back into the skates. Now a chance. Working in is the Wildcats. That one goes wide and makes its way all the way back to Wilson, who sends it in. Back to Seaman at the point. Seaman shot high and wide over the net. Now another chance at the point. Seaman able to pinch in and keep that one in as that shot turned aside by Thorne. 14-14 left to go here in the second period. We're all evened up at 3. 19-14, the shots on net in favor of the week's majors. And the Wildcats having the lead all throughout this game. The majors yet to lead in this game, but it never takes them too long to get back into it after they've given up the 3. They've answered right back quickly. Now this puck into the defensive zone. Battle along the far side wall as Gerard picks it up behind the net now. Gerard. Risky pass in front of the net. Gets back to Williams at the point. He makes his way into the corner. Now McIntosh, his shot. Picked up in front by Gerard. Gerard plays it up to Fletcher. Fletcher finds a man backdoor. Gerard goes wide. And now a loose puck in front again by Thorne. And the Majors able to clear this one back as Connolly picks it up. He's got room. He's going to look to get the line. He does, but it's back onto the stick of Nick McKenzie down in the defensive zone. McKenzie cross to Williams as Williams turns on the Jets and makes his way through center ice. Williams shot over the net. This one just goes wide out of the reach of Newman. Now Sinclair. Can't get good wood on that one. It's back to the red line. Now Hanley makes a move, sends it up the ice. Back down in for Williams. Williams sends it around to Fleming. Fleming circles. Tries to rip one. Blocker saved by Thorne. Now Hood to Sinclair. Back to the point. To Hickey. Hickey shot on. Chance in front. Hood robbed by Thorne. Great play by Jack Thorne to get the left pad on that one. Now Frazier working in. Same spot he scored that goal from earlier. Now Frazier picks it up once again. Now Kidd works his way into the offensive zone, try to make a move, but it's taken away and sent back out to neutral ice. Now Hickey backhands one up, and Hanley tried to find Sinclair breaking in, but that one will go the length. And with 1:35 to go, we'll get an icing call. Face-off back down to the left of Maddox Newman. 3-3. 19-13 to shots on net in favor of the Wildcats. Now the Majors control off the draw. This one off a stick. Nobody really sure where it went for the Wildcats. Nobody pressuring. But now Seaman off the wall. Now to neutralize Sinclair. Sinclair pressing. Hanley picks it up. Drives down deep. Now a chance in for Sim. Shot goes wide. Rebound put right in front of the net. Seaman able to clear it out of danger. Now Bertram. Bertram shot tipped in front off the pant leg of Darius Peh. Now the Majors looking dangerously offensive. Off the wall. This one's out to neutralize. Hanley able to clear it down. And now Forrest gives chase. That one played around the wall, not far enough as Force gets to it. But he bobbles that one. Fletcher on the hunt down there for the Wildcats. Sim working in. Ewan Sim drag shot blocked. Didn't get its way to the net. Now McEachern throws one on, and that one's going to be covered up by Newman. 1 second left to go here in the third period. The Majors deciding to pull Thorne here for the extra attacker just with a second left. 1.8 to be exact on the scoreboard. Need a absolute rocket of a shot off the draw to beat this. The only righty on that side is Cole Pugsley, but he's got 4 Wildcats ahead of him. Now Fraser's shot turned aside, and that'll draw the 8 milliseconds off the clock. Looking to get those 8 milliseconds back on the clock is the referee and the linesman over at the semicircle. They have the 8 milliseconds up there. They don't have the 1. So we're halfway there. Just living on a prayer. Now we're back to 2. And they messed it up. They're trying to get this back to 1.8 on the clock here. They had it at 1.5. Didn't have the hot finger. Now they'll try it again. And it's down to 1.4. Now can we try it for a third time? Third time's a charm. And it's at 1.7. They're going to say that's enough. So 1.7 left on the clock here. The Majors only losing out on 1 millisecond on this one. Now off the draw, blocked in front. Sinclair clears. And through 2 periods of play, The week's majors and Valley Wildcats all even at 3 here on High Button Sports. We'll see you in a moment for the third period of play. Make sure you stick with us here on High Button.
Tonight's stream is brought to you by John Ross & Sons, Atlantic Canada's scrap metal pros. Cleaning out the garage, job site, or shop, turn your steel, copper, and aluminum into cash. Drop off at their HRM locations or book a convenient bin for bigger hauls. Family-owned, environmentally responsible recycling that keeps our community clean and jobs local. Visit jrsons.ca and tell them High Button Sports sent you. John Ross & Sons, scrap metal made simple. Tonight's stream is brought to you by John Ross & Sons, Atlantic Canada's scrap metal pros. Cleaning out the garage, job site, or shop, turn your steel, copper, and aluminum into cash. Drop off at their HRM locations or book a convenient bin for bigger hauls. Family-owned, environmentally responsible recycling that keeps our community clean and jobs local. Visit jrsons.ca and tell them High Button Sports sent you. John Ross & Sons, scrap metal made simple. Tonight's stream is brought to you by John Ross & Sons, Atlantic Canada's scrap metal pros. Cleaning out the garage, job site, or shop, turn your steel, copper, and aluminum into cash. Drop off at their HRM locations or book a convenient bin for bigger hauls. Family-owned, environmentally responsible recycling that keeps our community clean and jobs local. Visit jrsons.ca and tell them High Button Sports sent you. John Ross & Sons, scrap metal made simple. Tonight's stream is brought to you by John Ross & Sons, Atlantic Canada's scrap metal pros. Cleaning out the garage, job site, or shop, turn your steel, copper, and aluminum into cash. Drop off at their HRM locations or book a convenient bin for bigger hauls. Family-owned, environmentally responsible recycling that keeps our community clean and jobs local. Visit jrsons.ca and tell them High Button Sports sent you. John Ross & Sons, scrap metal made simple. Tonight's stream is brought to you by John Ross & Sons, Atlantic Canada's scrap metal pros. Cleaning out the garage, job site, or shop, turn your steel, copper, and aluminum into cash. Drop off at their HRM locations or book a convenient bin for bigger hauls. Family-owned, environmentally responsible recycling that keeps our community clean and jobs local. Visit jrsons.ca and tell them High Button Sports sent you. John Ross & Sons, scrap metal made simple.
We're back on High Button Sports. My name is Dayton Camo, welcoming you inside the Kings Mutual Century Center here in Berwick for the third period of play between the visiting Weeks Majors and the U18 Bage Valley Wildcats. We're all even at 3 through 2 periods. Let's see what the third period has in store. Face-off underway. And we're off. Majors win this one. Back into the defensive zone. Sullivan works it up, and now it's White. White moves in. His shot off a leg. And wide of the net. Seaman battling down there with Frazier. Now back to Sullivan at the line. He can't keep it in. Reached out by Hood. Hood takes a bump, and now it's back across to Seaman. Seaman chips it up. That one's down into the Weeks end. Hood gives chase as Sullivan rims it up the boards. Now Frazier. He's got the tying goal in this game. Frazier back around the net. Look to center that one. Nobody home as Bertram sends it back down around for Sim. Sim lets it go for Frazier. Frazier can't corral that one as Max Hanley sends it through. Now Nolan Fletcher. He's off with a break. Fletcher tries to send one in front. Now Connolly's shot goes over the net. Rebound turned aside by Thorne. Now the Majors is able to work their way out. Slap shot coming in, and that one's turned aside. Up into the netting. We'll get a face-off here. 18:40 to go in the third period. Newman back at the bench. Maybe another equipment change coming. He changed the stick earlier in the game. He heads back to the bench. Or back to the crease, rather. As Force and Sim work in off the draw. Draw one by Force. Up the wall, and Kidd tried to jump at that one. Knocks it into the Wildcats bench. We'll get a face-off right back down to where we started. Interested to see what's going on down there with Wildcats goaltender Maddox Newman. Now the Majors try to work it across the zone. Eric Hanley able to pick that one up. Chips it up as Force swings at it. Back down for Kidd in the offensive zone. Kidd drags shot, and that one's over the net. Now Force. He's got speed down the near boards. He's pinched off, and the Wildcats will throw this one cross ice. Working in as the Weeks Sim takes a shot, and that one's wide of the net. Now Force loses that one behind the net to Sim. Ewan Sim tried to dangle his way through everybody, and now he gets that one back off a skate. His shot into the corner, off the glass. Now back to McKenzie at the point. McKenzie opting for black tape on the blade instead of white this period. Now a broken stick for Sullivan. Leaves Weeks shorthanded for just a moment in the offensive zone. As that shot goes wide, Sullivan back into play. Now a battle along the near side wall as Force is in there. He lifts one off the glass up into the rafters. And we'll get a face-off back down to the Wildcat zone. The Weeks pressing hard here in the third period, trying to get their first lead of the hockey game. 3-3, but the Wildcats have led every time. Frazier and Connolly on the draw. Frazier wins it back. It's back to the point to McEachern. McEachern off the half wall. Now Swain in there to help out. But this one's knocked aside by Girard. Now Wilson in there to pick it up for the Wildcats. And now this one's worked back down in. Newman out there to play it. Backhands one up around the wall. That one was out of the reach of almost Sinclair. Now it's right back down in. Now Girard up to Connolly. Connolly's got speed. He's got the red, dumps it in. Connolly first on it. Sinclair back to the point, nobody home. Now Seaman corrals it for the Wildcats. Back to Hanley. Hanley to Seaman. Now Seaman cross ice. He's got Sinclair. He's got a shot off the pad of Thorne. Now this one's turned back into the weak zone. Hood pressing. Now Sinclair misses that one as this goes up to Swain. He dumps it into Tanner in the corner, but Tanner can't control that one. It's Hood up the wall. Now Hood's pass will make its way down the ice out of the reach of everybody, and we'll get an icing call back down with 15:43 to go in the third period. Face off to the left of Maddox Newman. Newman making 16 saves on this one tonight. $18 on the other end for Thorne. Now this draws one a little bit too cleanly one more time by the Weeks, and it'll be back down to the Wildcats end. Now Hood works his way in. Hood shot off the blocker. Now Fleming works down in there. Williams picks it up. He's got Hood all over him. Now Pugsley working into the offensive zone. That one's knocked off his stick as Green sends it back down in. Wilson tries to make a move. He's the last man back. That was Fleming, excuse me. Now Fleming. He's working down into the offensive zone. Tries to take a shot. Fans on that one. And now Hickey on the half wall. He gets that one stripped from him by Nicholas McKenzie. Now McKenzie trying to work in. That's back down deep. Picked up by Cameron Hickey. He goes up the wall, taken away by a couple of weak sticks there. Now Hickey goes back around to Seaman. Seaman off the glass to neutral ice. Now Sullivan. Now a shot coming in. That one just goes wide. Shot from McKenzie. Or Frazier, excuse me. Now Sullivan at the point. Sullivan's shot off the post. Now Cameron walking the line. Makes a move. Nice move by Jack Cameron. Splitting a couple of Wildcats forwards there. Now Cameron tried to get the return feed right in the slot. That one hopped off his stick. Now a shot goes in. Saved by Newman. And we're going to face off right back down here. Shots 22-20 now in favor of the Wildcats. All even at 3 with 13:42 to go. Oh yeah, Sinclair and Kidd on the draw. Draw one by Kidd. Clean back. Now it's McEachern. Dumps it into the corner. Start of the cycle here for the Weeks Majors is Kidd. Plays that one back to the point. Gets by Bertram. And Bertram has to come back and corral it. And start the regroup out. He's got speed. Through neutral ice, Nick Bertram. He's got a goal in this contest. Now Hanley up the wall to his brother Eric. Eric Hanley. So Force. Force takes a tough bump, grabs it with his hand. Smart play by Force. Now it's worked up the wall. McEachern sends it in. Coming out to play that one was Newman up the wall to Eric Hanley. Hanley to Stoddard. Stoddard gives that one right away. And now a pass out of the reach. We'll get to Seaman. Seaman sets up to slow it down here for the Wildcats as he makes a move. Past a couple of bodies. Seaman up the near side. Jacob Seaman working in. His shot off the pad. Good coast-to-coast rush by the Blainville-Boisbriand Armada prospect. Now Kidd trying to make a move. He goes under the triangle there of Wilson. Now back to the point. Williams. He gets bumped down there into the wall. Now a chance out front, turned aside by Newman, and he'll glove that one up for the stop. With a Weeks player down there on the ice, that's Swain. Doesn't look to be any penalties coming of this yet. So face-off coming back down to the... No, it will not be to the right of Maddox Newman. It'll be outside the Wildcat zone. That indicates a hand on the puck in the crease. And now this one sent right back down the ice. An icing call coming. And now we'll get that face-off to the right of Maddox Newman. McIntosh, Sinclair on the draw. Sinclair wins that one ahead, but it's picked up by the Majors. Now McIntosh goes back to the point to McKenzie. McKenzie's shot tipped on in front, and no, that one goes off the post as well. A rebound left there right in front for Swain. He backhands this one off the pad and off the post. That close for the Majors. Now it's Tanner working in. Cohen Tanner, glove saved by Newman. And we'll get a face-off back down in the Wildcats' end. A great chance there for the Majors to get their first lead of the hockey game. But Maddox Newman, with a little help from the goalpost, keeps this one a 3-3 game. McIntosh working in with Kerrigan. Kerrigan wins it back, and Seaman sends this one around to Fletcher. Fletcher looked to get a stick on it, but they'll call it an icing as this one goes down. Sullivan able to beat that puck past the red line, and we'll get a redo of that draw right back down here. On the draw, it's Kerrigan and Kidd. Kidd wins the draw, shot blocked by Fletcher. Now it's back down in front of. Quick play there from the Majors. But now it's the Wildcats breaking out. Offside call. And now Cameron dragged down there by Fletcher. A penalty coming. So we'll get to see the So we'll look to see the penalty call. It actually looks like Jack Cameron going to the box. The Majors parents can't understand it. Neither can I, really, as Fletcher had his arm around Cameron going into the end wall and looked to drag Cameron right to the ice. But the Valley Wildcats, their power play 1-for-1 here tonight. It'll get a second crack at it. The Majors penalty kill clicking at 33% coming into this one, so we'll see if they can shut down the Wildcats on this one. Face off, one back to the point. That's Hanley. Hanley drops it off. Now it's down beside the net. Back up to Hanley at the top. Hanley, drag move. Almost a break there for McIntosh. Now Fleming, back to Hanley. The quarterback of this power play sends a shot through. That one's gloved down by Thorne. And with 10:30 to go, we're going to face off back to the left of Thorne. Hood and Hanley back on the points with Connolly, Peh, and Fleming up front for the Wildcats. Connolly kicked out. Hood coming in to take the draw. One to the half wall, and now played back to Hanley. Hanley to Fleming. Fleming, his shot just gets blocked on the way to the net. Now Newman out to play it with White. They're pressing for the Weeks. Now Hanley works his way in. One of two QMJHL prospects on this Wildcats team, and this one called offside at the line, or it might have hit a glove on the bench. So we're going to face off right back down to the left of Jack Thorne. 1:07 left to go on the penalty to Cameron. An interference penalty to call, and now a Wildcats timeout. So the Wildcats calling a timeout, maybe a little bit of a break here for Maddox Newman as he gets seen to down there on the bench. And the Wildcats will look to draw up a play here on the special teams. .9:59 to go in the third period. A tie game, 24-24 the shots. So we're all even across the board. 1:07 to go on the penalty to Cameron. Seaman to Kerrigan. Kerrigan cross ice. Sinclair's shot blocked in front. This one gets to neutral ice. Frazier will lift one down the ice as Seaman corrals for the Wildcats. Seaman leaves it for Sinclair. Sinclair's got some speed. He's going to make his way down the ice on the far side. Jesse Sinclair gets it in deep. This one sent all the way around the ice. Unable to keep it in with Seaman as he comes back to gather it up. Seaman off the wall for Force. Force lost control of that one. Back up to Fletcher. And Fletcher will make a move through the neutral zone. Fletcher working in. Fletcher back to Kerrigan. Tried to play with the glove and now Weeks away. Sim working in. Puck taken away off his stick. Good stick by Seaman. Team's back to even strength as Jack Cameron steps out of the box. So the Wildcats now 1 for 2 on the power play here in this game. Ewan Sim working in now on the offside. Now the Wildcats breaking out. There's Stoddard, but he walks in over the line offside. And with 8:30 to go, we'll get a face-off right outside the Majors line. Green and Stoddard on the draw. Stoddard wins this one as Hanley sends it in. Frazier leaves that one there. It's picked up by McKenzie, knocked back up the wall. Now Pett. Darius Pett trying to find a man in front. That one just knocked over the net. That was Hanley, excuse me. Now this one's worked up the wall through center ice. It's into the skates of Stoddard. Now a quick up coming here for the Weeks. McEachern licks one into the offensive zone as Hickey comes back to pick it up. Cameron Hickey, the tall defenseman. He's got speed through the neutral zone, dumped in. Now Hickey still giving chase down deep in the offensive zone. Hood staying back to cover for the defenseman. Now it's Griffin McEachern. He'll lift a High riser in on Newman. Newman able to stop that one. Leave it there for Hickey. Hickey to Hanley. Back to Hickey. Hands it off to Fleming, and Fleming had to make a quick move with it there. Now it's back down low to Williams. Williams to Sullivan, who plays it up the wall to Tanner. And the Majors working in just offside there. We'll get a face-off here. 6:55 to go in the third period. Connolly and Sim working in on the draw. Or Kerrigan. Kerrigan wins that one. Back to Seaman, up through neutral ice. As Fletcher jams this one down into the zone. Now a breakout pass off the glasses. Right on Seaman's tape as he sends it back in. Picked up by the Weeks now. Worked in to Tanner. Tanner throws one to the middle. Now a quick shot turned aside. Glove save! Maddox Newman. Newman able to take away that chance in front. A backhander sent right on, point blank. He turns it aside. Now this pass off the wall to Hood. Quick breakout here for the Wildcats as Hood works in. Sends this one wide of the net, picked up by Peck. Kept in by Hanley, tip in front. Puck goes loose, can Hanley keep it in? This one skips past him as Frazier works in, 1-on-2. Frazier drive shot, this one goes wide. And now Peck behind the net. They'll play it up to Force. Force walks in. Shot on, saved by the blocker of Thorne. And now a pass from Frazier makes its way up the ice. Sent in front, pad save by Newman. Blocker save once more by Newman as the puck goes into the corner. Now McKenzie works his way around the top of the zone. To Williams, shot. That one saved by Newman once more. As the Weeks reach 30 in the shot column. Newman turning aside, 27 of 30 tonight. 23 of 26 for Thorne on the other end. Both goalies playing spectacular here, stopping a few point-blank chances, a couple of breakaways. Now this one's into the corner. Stoddard takes a bump there. He throws one over the glass and out of play. So we'll redo this face-off right back down in the Wildcats end. Getting down to crunch time. McIntosh lost that draw there. And now it's back up the ice. Seaman now. Seaman gets the red line, sends it in. Now cross ice. Sullivan looked to, or Bertram, looked to bump that one in. Now it's McEachern. Sending it around the wall. Seaman looks to be first two for the Wildcats. Evades the check of Kidd. Now picked back up. Nathan Kidd circling around the net. He's got Hickey all over him. Poked back to the line. This one escapes the offensive zone for the Weeks, and they'll have to come back up and regroup. Griffin McEachern sends one up, and now here's Swain. Swain drops to Nathan Kidd. Shot. That one goes off something in front, up into the scoreboard. And we'll get a stoppage of play. Top line back out there for the Wildcats. Fleming, Sinclair, and Hood. Gerard and Wilson on the back end. It's Green. Spins around the top of the slot. Shot goes wide, knocked aside, and net knocked off his moorings as Newman comes in, and we'll get some extracurriculars around the Wildcats net. As Pugsley makes his way back up off the ice. No calls coming. So we'll get set for a face-off right back down here to the right of Maddox, Newman, Green, and Sinclair on the draw. Sinclair wins it back. Gerard picks this one up. Off the wall to Hood. To Gerard. Gerard can't get by that one. And now Hood flips it to center. Out of the reach of Fleming. That one's chipped back into the zone. Now Sinclair swatted at that one. It's dropped back to Jeremy Wilson. Now Wilson up through middle. That one almost taking away a dangerous pass. Right through the center of the defensive zone. Now Hood working in. Hunter Hood. To Fleming. Fleming working around the top of the zone. Circles down low. Pad save off the blocker of Thorne. Now Fleming has another one. Short side. Lifts this one just over the net. This one's kept in by Girard at the short side. But we'll be getting a penalty call on the play. So that'll be Hunter Hood heading off to the box. And the Weeks Majors back to the man advantage. Conversation going around the Wildcats bench. .319 to go. Now maybe the most dangerous power play in the league, or one of. This one goes back door. Newman able to get the pad on that one. Now back to Cameron. Cameron quarterbacking this power play. Sinclair gets a stick on that one. Knocks it out of the zone. Now back come the Weeks as Williams picks it up and gains the zone. He's got men all over him. Frazier drags. Now back to Sim. Sim cross ice to Cameron. Back to Frazier. Down low to Williams. Now this one gets sent block in front. Stoddard's got no twig. Now he's got the stick back in his hands. Williams, cross ice, pad save by Newman. Now Cameron back to the point. He's got a lane, drives the shot in. But once again, Maddox Newman taller to the task. So 2:17 left to go, 58 in the penalty to Hunter Hood. 33 to 27, the shots on net in favor of the Majors now. And Maddox Newman, shot after shot after shot on this Weeks power play, unable to beat him. Now Girard tried to spin and fire one down. He fanned on that one. Now it's back to the point to Bertram. Now Kidd. Kidd to Bertram. That one's almost intercepted by Fletcher. Now Sinclair going to use his time. There's 40 seconds left. And Sinclair sends this one down the ice. Thorne comes out to play it. 30 to go here in this Weeks power play. McKenzie gains the zone, finds a man. That's Croft. His shot turned aside by Newman. Rebound in front. That one goes wide, and net knocked off his moorings. We'll get a whistle here. Some chaos ensuing down around the Wildcats net. 1:37 to go. "18 seconds left on this man advantage." And then Hunter Hood back out onto the ice. Face off won by the Weeks. Back around to Kidd. Kidd at the top of the circle. Winds in. Shot blocked by Girard. Great job by Girard getting in the shooting lane there. Now Pay unable to clear that one. Scores! Jaden Croft, second of the game. And the Weeks Majors grab their first lead of this hockey game. It's 4-3. So a timeout called here by the Wildcats. 1:24 to go in this third period. The Weeks Majors maintaining a 4-3 lead here now after Jaden Croft sent that wrister to the back of the net. And the Wildcats will have to push. Wouldn't be surprised if we see Newman pulled for the extra attacker. The Weeks heading back to center ice. Wildcats looking to take every second they can here. Sinclair, Seaman, Fleming, Fletcher, and Hood out there for the Wildcats. Draw one back for Seaman. Newman makes his way back to the bench. Six on five now for the Wildcats. Puck bobbled. That one sent in by Fletcher. Sinclair, first on the puck. Now it's in the feet of Cameron. 50 to go. Fletcher comes in to give a hand. Puck gets back to the point. Chip tap by Seaman. Just able to keep it in. Now McEachern fires this one back. Hood sends it up to Fletcher. Fletcher has that one chip off his stick and he sends it down. This will be an icing call coming to the Majors. Here's Hood, looks to beat that one, and now we'll have a face-off right back down in the Weeks end. 33 to go. Empty net for the Wildcats, 6 on 5. Connolly on the draw, wins it back to Hood. Hood down low, back up to Hood. Across to Seaman, just able to keep that one in. Fleming, cross ice to Fletcher, shot. Turned aside by Jack Thorne. 21 to go, good play there from Seaman to get one cross ice. Frazier and Connolly on the draw one more time. Connolly wins it back. Hood sends a shot through. It's blocked. Now Connolly back behind the net. Back down low to Connolly. Connolly to the point to Seaman. Seaman trying to find a line. He sends it back down to Connolly, and this one's going to be sent down the ice. 4 to go. Beating out the icing is Kidd, and that will do it. The Weeks Majors didn't earn the lead until 1:24 left to go in this game with a power play goal from Jaden Croft, his second of the game. And the Weeks Majors take down the Bage Valley Wildcats here from Berwick by a score of 4-3. Dayton Camo with you for High Button Sports. We thank you for tuning into High Button today. A bunch of great games across the network. But from Berwick, Dayton Camo, signing out. Have a great weekend, everyone.